Lesson 1.4: The 5 Functions of Journalism. Previously, you learned why the study of journalism is important for our democracy and our world. You learned that our Constitution promises that we are allowed to speak out and speak freely in our country, even when we're criticizing the government itself, even though this doesn't happen in other places around the world. So, you have all this freedom. You can say what you want and report on things you think are important. But what do you do with that freedom? Well, because journalism is so important, a lot of people have spent a lot of time and energy thinking about this very question. Most of them agree that the functions of journalism fit in any one of 5 different categories. Let's take a look at the 5 functions of journalism. Function number 1: news and information. You might want to take notes on each of these functions to make sure that you remember everything. I'll give you that hint for free. This first function of journalism is to inform your audience. This would include important events that have happened or that are going to happen. This is what you would think of as your classic news story. Here's an example of how a high school journalist might inform their audience. Let's say that prom tickets will be on sale at a discounted rate for one day only. As journalists covering your school, this would be an important bit of information to share with the student body. So you would go and get all of the relevant information from reliable sources, like the class sponsor in charge of prom or the class president. A reliable source would not just be someone convenient like your best buddy Rufus, who you happen to have third period with. And then you would write and publish a story that shares those important facts and that information with the student body. That's function number 1. That brings us to function number 2, which is the discussion of opinions. This would include any time you put your opinion into a piece of writing. Those are called editorial pieces. So let me explain again. Let's go back to our prom. Let's say there's been a lot of debate going on as to what the prom theme should be. One theme idea is a night on the farm. And the other option is Alaskan Nights. Admittedly, not the best prom themes. But if you were discussing opinions on this, you might interview or accept letters from the proponents of each side, and you would publish them so that the rest of the student body understands the debate. Or you might write an article expressing your opinion, which is that these are both very, very bad ideas for a prom theme, and you are suggesting what you think is the solution. And it's very important that you don't simply criticize, but you always offer a solution. Okay, function number 3: cultural transmission, which means keeping the people, your audience, within a given society, keeping them connected. So, for example, you might take a survey of the top songs that the student body wants to see on the prom playlist and publish the results of those surveys. Or you can write an article on the ways different students are doing promposals this year. All of those things would be keeping people connected in your audience and transmitting culture. That brings us to function number 4. The fourth function of mass media is entertainment, or to entertain your audience. And some people get confused on this. Entertainment can mean a lot of different things. A lot of different kinds of things are entertainment. We're entertained when we laugh, of course, but also sometimes we're entertained by sadness or by guilt or really any emotion. When you go to a movie and you watch a sad movie or an intense movie, you're entertained by those things as well. So entertainment covers all of these things. So let's talk about an example. If you're trying to entertain, you might write a column or publish a cartoon like this one that takes a humorous look on what not to do on your prom date or your first date. Or maybe you cover something with a different kind of emotion. Maybe you cover a sick student who's in the hospital and can't attend prom, and you cover how their friends threw a prom for them in their hospital room. That's entertaining too. Okay, finally it's time to talk about function number 5 of journalism and mass communication. We sometimes call this one the controversial one, and I'll explain why. But function number 5 is called setting the political agenda. Now, this is sometimes seen as controversial because it suggests that one of the roles of journalism and mass media is to influence the individuals who consume the mass media, as well as those in power, towards dealing with the issues that you think should be dealt with. This one is tricky. There's a lot of debate on whether or not this is an ethical or right thing to do as a function of journalism. And it's controversial because a lot of people believe that this gives whoever's publishing this agenda unfair power. We'll talk about this more a little later on when we get into a discussion of the ethics in journalism, and that's coming up soon. For now, just consider what setting the political agenda might mean for you at school. It would mean you would find something that needs to be changed, like maybe a culture of cyberbullying, and you'd write a series of articles on that in order to bring about the specific change that you want to see. So, for example, let's say that you think prom should be banned because it glorifies couples and it's inconsiderate and awkward for those that are single and puts unfair pressure on single people. You might write a series of features and other editorials that stress this point from every angle in hopes that prom is banned. Just know you might not make a lot of friends with that one. So make sure to review these if you need to because it's important that you remember the 5 functions of journalism and mass media.